Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. Um, all the reviews I've been doing past have been, notice I've been doing most of the times I've been doing a lot of animation, kids films, So I decided to change the pace a bit because thanks to one of my subscribers, ex Queen of Evil Dead X, she asked me, that what other stuff I can do, and she's requesting, me review more on the horror and science fiction films, And since she asked very nicely, so I decided I'll do a couple more because but I said like I said, I mentioned in my comments, I'm going to do some. When the month of October comes on, I was gonna do more on the horror and science fiction films, like I did when I first started on my channel, So yeah, I'm gonna since asked nicely, to do more on the horror and science fiction films. So I got one right here, and it's a science fiction film. So yeah, but I'm gonna do a couple of those. I'm gonna do a couple of reviews of those, since asked nicely, But I'm still gonna do more of my horror science fiction films more in when October comes around, Halloween month. So I just want to say that. So, but I'll do a change of pace, So for now, So for this science fiction film I have right here, and I would say, and it's I would say it's a classic science fiction film. I would say, because. And it had a lot of interest. It was like an intriguing film, interesting things, and I would I was and it's not that boring of a film, and it is Westworld. Now, Westworld was a film that was released in 1973. And he made this is directed by Michael Crichton, who the author of Jurassic Park, and he's directed other films. He directed other films as well, like he directed another favorite film of mine called Runaway, with Tom Selleck, Kirstie Alley, and Gene Simmons. I enjoy Runaway a lot, and also he directed I think he also directed a film that was based on his own novel called The Great Train Robbery that starred Sean Connery and Donald Sutherland. But before he did Runaway and wrote the book on Jurassic Park, he did this film, Westworld, and it stars Yul Brynner as the gunslinger, and Richard Benjamin and James Brolin. James Brolin, is the father of actor Josh Brolin. What I say about the film? Yul Brynner as the gunslinger, which he wore the exact same outfit that he starred in the Magnificent Seven. The same outfit there, And how do I find this a good science fiction film so enjoyable is that it's about it takes place in the future, where a lot of stuff is like very high tech stuff, and on the way James Brolin and Richard Benjamin. Richard Benjamin plays a guy named Peter, and James Brolin plays a guy named John. They're on their way to this amusement park, where it consists of 3 different worlds. One, which is the title right there, Westworld. Another called Medieval World, and another one called Roman World. And everything there is pretty much all animatronics. All the human stuff that's in these attractions are almost all robots. Even the animals are animatronics as well. And it's like if I were to say, like, I would call it like a futuristic, you know, high tech, you know, like Disneyland, you know, for mostly for adults, you know. And you get and it's also a very expensive place, like mostly like for the super rich, you know, because I think it's like what $1,000 per day to spend there, you know. So you have to be like really rich, you know, to spend that kind of money there at this kind of amusement park, you know. And everything's supposed to be like top of the line, everything, you know. And James Brolin as John, he's been there before, you know, but he's taking his friend along, Peter, Richard Benjamin. You know, I say he's more, you know, kind of like a shy kind of guy, you know, and he's like really nervous to see how this amusement park goes, you know, and of course they choose to visit Westworld, while others go to other worlds as well, but mostly Westworld, where pardon me there, they choose another guy who goes along with them in the Westworld is Dick Van Patten, you know, who was he's been in comedy films. Like I mostly remember him from Mel Brooks' film Spaceballs as the king. He's also a tourist that goes along in Westworld. So they get there, you know, and when they start, they all dressed up in all they're like living in the times, you know, dressing up like in cowboy clothes or the Roman clothes or medieval clothes, you know, etc. You know, and you basically can do most of the places you can do there wherever you want. You know, like you can rob banks. You know, you can have like a shootout with the gunslinger. You know, like when they go to a bar. You know, Yul Brynner as the gunslinger, he comes in. You know, starts mocking Richard Benjamin. You know, and James Brolin starts you know, just telling him, go on, you know, kill him, you know, and you can see that Richard Benjamin feeling kind of nervous, you know, because he's like, shoot it because they look exactly realistic, you know, exactly like human beings, you know. So he does, you know, and you know, and Yul Brynner, he's always like, your move, you know. And of course, and you shoot, of course, you're able to shoot him. Of course, you're able to win instantly because you know, because when the robots they pull their guns out more slower, so that way you give them more chance to be real quick and shoot them at them. You know, you know, they're having fun and having fun. You know, like when Richard Benjamin he gets locked up. You know, when he shoots Yul Brynner a second time. You know, when the gunslinger comes into their hotel room and holds James Brolin up hostage, you know. So when Richard Benjamin comes in, shoots him a second time, like he gets locked up in the jail, you know, and James Brolin helps him out, like helps him break out of the jail, you know. And basically, you know, have a lot of fun. You know, like also you can also sleep with the women, you know, and all that, you know. And also like you also get from time to time, like you see the back, you get like in the basement area where all the scientists are, you know, where they're making all the stuff, you know, controlling the stuff, you know, in their control rooms, you know, like the also really good effects, you know, like when they where they fix up the gunslinger character, you know, where they take off the face, you know, to look inside, you know. Real good effects, you know, and you know, to like taking the face off and looking all robot type looking inside, you know, fixing them, forgiving for the next thing, you know. Really good effects, you know, especially from 1973, and also in the control room where the guy mostly in charge, you know, there are like they have been experiencing some malfunctions, you know, saying that like there's a certain virus going on, you know, and that's another thing that I thought was really intriguing. Well, probably not today though, but I'm saying for like back in the day, you know, like when a computer virus, you know, like remember like at the time back in 1973, you know, computers, there weren't that many computer viruses, I assume, you know, but I thought that was like an interesting idea, you know. Michael Crichton, I think he did, you know, coming up with the idea of a computer virus, you know, back at the time, you know. And I thought that was an interesting idea, you know, because back in 1973, who would assume that computers would have, you know, viruses, you know? I'm just saying, you know. Um, so like that kind of idea, they have experiencing more malfunctions, and maybe there's something wrong here, you know. But and basically, you know, but as going back into the amusement park is Peter and John, you know, Richard and James, you know, enjoying the amusement parks, you know, like they're out in the middle of the desert, they're resting and they see like a snake, you know, and James Brolin starts shooting at it, but something goes wrong and ends up biting him, you know, saying, you know, that's not too supposed. That's not supposed to happen. Apologize. I apologize for stuttering my words. You know, he's saying that's not supposed to happen. You know, can't even talk. You know, because I'm still stuttering my words. You know, but I apologize for that though. But yeah. But then later, like, the guys come in, the scientists or fix the mechanics. You know, they take the snake and start working on it. You know, seeing what went wrong. And you know, later then both the two guys, you know, they get into bar fights, you know, having fun, you know, punching and pitting each other with chairs and stuff like that, anything they could find. And also also the Dick Van Patten character as the tourist, you know, he gets promoted as sheriff because they shot the old sheriff, you know, and he gets promoted as sheriff. And I thought that's a weird thing, you know, like the Dick Van Patten, he gets promoted as the new sheriff, but then you also see him during that little brawl fight there in the bar, but then by the next morning, he's gone, never seen again. You know, I don't know. I never knew what happened to him. I saw him during that brawl fight, but by the next morning, never seen again. You know, I don't know what happened there. So, but by the next morning, you know, as the two guys they walk back outside and everything is like completely deserted, you know, except for the gunslinger, you know. He's like the only one there. It's like a complete ghost town, you know. And he just says, you know, hold it, you know. And James Brolin says, you know, let me do it this time, you know. And they both shoot, but this time the gunslinger actually shoots James Brolin, you know, and James Brolin is looking all surprised, you know, and he's like looking at himself, he's like, wow, I'm shot, you know, and then he falls over. And then Richard Benjamin is actually is really shocked to see that happened, you know, and not knowing that was not supposed to do that though. But and then Yul Brynner, you know, he looks at his draw, and then Richard runs Peter runs away, you know, and even though Yul Brynner, he didn't appear in the film that much, like more at the beginning or in the middle, you know, but he appears more towards at the end of the film, though. He did a really good job, Yul Brynner, you know. He did a really good job playing as the gunslinger, you know. Especially, you know, I always thought that was kind of creepy, you know, how the way his eyes looked, you know, like those silver eyes, you know. Just I always thought that was kind of creepy looking how his eyes were, you know. But and then the scientists, you know, they're saying, you know, shut down immediately, though. But there's no response, you know, and they get locked in the room, and there was no oxygen, you know. Eventually, they all suffocate in the room due to there's no oxygen, so they all die in there, you know. So they do suffocation. And I'm gonna get to talk about the rest in the next part. So stay tuned for part 2 of this review.